Did you hear that? I always ask you that, but do you get to hear that?
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah, we're recording now. Great.
You can do
Hey,
so many
everybody.
creepy things. Sorry.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Buddies on Buddies, the show with two real life buddies talking about real life buddy action comedies. I'm Kenny Lane.
I'm Lucas Hill.
And we're Buddies on Buddies. Anyway, yeah, we're skipping that. So
let's give a brief history of who we are. Kenny, who are you?
Me? I'm 200 pounds of Superfly TNT coming at you.
Oh, come on. You're not just a pretty guy in a sports jacket. Who are you?
No, I'm not just a pretty guy in a sports jacket. I'm many things to many people. People have a lot of ideas about who I am, what I'm about, but they're all wrong.
Interesting. I'm Lucas.
Yeah, okay, here we go. So Lucas and I met in film school. We were roommates for a long time. Lucas still lives in Los Angeles. I live in Washington State now. We're going to talk about some buddy action comedies. There you go.
We were roommates for a long time. We're good friends. Kenny knows a lot more about movies than I do.
But you have much better taste.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that, Kenny. Yeah, that's nice.
Can we move on?
Jesus Christ. Crack the whip, why don't you?
I'm just so excited to talk about Hollywood Homicide. I'm bursting here.
I'm jumping at the bit.
Yeah.
So Kenny, do you want to? You're so excited. Why don't you introduce the movie we're gonna be buddying on?
Sure.
Today? Can we call it that? Can we call it buddying on a movie instead of reviewing or talking about it? We're giving the old buddying on treatment.
Yeah, we're buddying hard. We're double up buddying on so raw and hard on Hollywood Homicide this week. The movie could barely take the both of us. Yeah, anyway, okay, so it's Hollywood Homicides is a 2003 movie from Sony Pictures, directed by Ron Shelton, starring Harrison Ford and Josh Hartnett.
Great. And before we get into that, and we're gonna get into it because there's a lot to get into. Did you outside shit, this is a really sexual episode.
We're gonna get into it.
I guess that's what happens when you get Josh Hartnett involved. What have you watched this week outside of Hollywood Homicide? Or is there anything worth mentioning that you watched?
Yeah, you'll be proud of me. I've been watching a lot of stupid TV shows, so this is a change. Yeah.
Good. What shows? Like CSI?
No. I would want Love is Blind on Netflix, the reality show.
That, yeah.
You seen some of that? Yeah, It's a high quality program. It's basically about people that meet in different rooms. They talk to each other for a couple of weeks. Then they decide they're in love and they propose, and then they're supposed to get married. It's a big like hit now on Netflix and stuff. It's fun to watch with Megan. She actually was really enjoying my riffing on it. But after working in various reality TV shows, years ago, I'm just always very suspicious about the contestants or participants, whatever their motivations, how sincere they are, and I'm just thinking about what the editor has done, and the producers, what they're talking them into. So I don't trust reality TV at all. But that's just that's an old critique, whatever.
Yes, and I mean I think most people know that, even if they haven't worked in the industry. But after most of the shows, you get in 1 to 2 episodes. You're like, this is stupid. But play the next episode. I want to see how.
Play the next one. I don't know if you remember, like on Sundays when we'd wake up and we just go get like big bags of Taco Bell and just eat it, watch football, and just be. And then you got to the end of it was good, and it was. But then you got to the end of the bag, then you just feel stupid and a fat piece of shit. That's basically what I feel like after binge watching these shows. So
yeah, there's not a lot of intellectual residue on your soul.
Yeah, no, there's not. So I watched that,
Mhm.
and I watched like Pam and Tommy, that new show
Oh,
on
that's
Hulu.
did you like that? That got pretty decent reviews.
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's the showrunner is Robert Siegel, who wrote like he was actually the editor in chief of The Onion for a lot of years, and then he did like the wrestler. He wrote The Wrestler, and he wrote this kind of underrated movie with Michael Keaton I like a lot called The Founder, about the
Yeah,
guy that
that's an underrated movie. Yeah, who
yeah, it's an underrated movie.
stole
So it's
McDonald's under the rug from them. Yeah,
under the run. What's his name? Roy. What's
the
the founder?
brothers, the
Ray.
brothers. I don't. Oh,
I forget
the
what the Michael Keaton's character's name. Ray Kroc. I think Ray Kroc's his name. But yeah, it's a good one to check out. But yeah, Pam and Tommy, it's pretty compelling. It's pretty good. It's like a limited series with the actors they could not sign on for a long time because it's like, Sebastian Shaw and Seth Rogen and all this stuff.
Sebastian
But
Stan.
Stan, sorry.
Sebastian Shaw's
And
X-Men villain.
I just know him as the Winter Soldier guy. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, it's the lead actress, though, Lily James, who is in like these. She's a British actress. She's in Baby Driver and Yesterday and stuff. I know that she is spot on as Pamela Anderson. It's a really good acting job on her part. Sebastian Stan, is that his name?
Yes.
He's fun as Tommy Lee, and Seth Rogen's good. It's kind of funny though, watching it with Megan. She was like every time we see a movie set in Los Angeles, I'm always like pointing out like, oh, I know that place. But while we were watching it, Seth Rogen plays this kind of schlubby, losery guy who like lives in this kind of shitty apartment and masturbates. And she's like, this guy really reminds me of you. So that was nice.
Yeah. And you're like, not Tommy. She's like, nope, definitely not Tommy.
No, not Tommy. No, the schlubby thief who lives in a shitty apartment, masturbates. That she's like, that's my guy.
Well, she picked a winner.
Hey. I have my own show now, so whatever.
And the jacket to prove it.
The jacket to prove it. How about you, Lucas? What did you see this week?
Not too much because I was out of town, but I don't remember what I talked about last week, but we finished Arcane. We talked about that, I think, because it's animated.
Yeah. Do you watch anything that's not a cartoon that wasn't like aimed at 13-year-olds?
We watch a lot of Yellowstone. We're almost caught up on, which is the dumbest show in the
I
world,
thought it was
maybe?
really stupid the first season.
Yeah.
I thought it was stupid the first season. There's way too many coincidences, way too much melodrama. I could not get into it, but I know people love it. I don't want to shit on it too hard because a lot of people really love it.
People suggest it. We watched it. It's watchable, but it is not a good show.
My mother's a super fan, bought a T-shirt and everything, and I can get why people like it, but no, not for me. Just I don't know.
No, it's very stupid, but sometimes it's so bad it's good, and it is usually pretty entertaining. But the best part of that show is how much they shit on the city folk. It's hilarious. Just about every episode has a sequence where they do like, oh, you wouldn't understand, you're from Cincinnati. Fucking stupid city folk, and they fall in dog or horse shit. Like, oh, city folk. We don't have the internet out here, city folk.
Well, there's a big whole, a bunch of people in the, states that like that stuff that just not, I think they found their niche. That this is a huge hit show. So
it's a huge hit show, and I get it. It's very watchable. It's like the reality shows. We watch it, but then we feel guilty afterwards. Look, it's no Emily in Paris, okay?
What's Emily in Paris?
I don't know, some fucking show.
Let's move on.
Okay. So you want to rehash the plot of? I should probably get more subtle than reading my notes or get better glasses.
It's your turn this week to rehash the plot. So go for it.
Great. Hollywood Homicide is about a veteran detective who's been with a younger detective for 4 months in Hollywood, of all places. And there is a case where young rappers are getting murdered. And as they delve into this case, it interweaves with their personal lives, personal wants outside of the justice system. How'd I do?
You nailed it, sort of. Yeah, that's fun. That's good enough. Hollywood Homicide. So what was your kind of just, thoughts. Had you seen it before? I thought I had seen it before, but watching it again, I don't think I had seen it. I'd seen like clips maybe, but
no, I think I've definitely seen pieces of it, but I've never sat down and watched Hollywood Homicide.
The whole thing.
It's been on cable and I've seen clips. It is a very awkward and stiff movie. You know, there's no soul to this movie. It is like watching a husk of a movie. Like especially for what's his name? Shelton, whatever.
Ron Shelton, a director we both like. Yeah,
so much soul. Yeah, he's like one of my favorite like sports directors for sure. Like
we said it last week, but yeah, he started these like kind of surprisingly smart sports comedies, which is not a typical thing for sports comedies with like Bull Durham and White Man Can't Jump and Tin Cup and all these ones. So this is like him. It's kind of a little different that he's tackling the buddy action comedy genre, you know, but.
Yeah, and there is zero chemistry between the leads. There's no dynamic there. It's because the opening scene's actually really cool. It's him missing.
Really, I didn't really.
No. Yeah, because it's a character thing. He's missing all his shots, so they're at the training range, and then Harrison Ford turns over and makes his shots for him and hits his shot. Mm-hmm. So there's like this fatherly, mentorly thing. That shit never comes back again. They're just
first I'll talk. Well, what you first says, like, I think if the movie has a big flaw, it's that the two leads don't have any chemistry. They don't, like there's different now that we're watching all these buddy action comedies, I'm starting to see different styles. And one of them is like Stakeout, where it's like they're already partners. It's a lived in relationship. You buy Emilio Estevez and Richard Dreyfuss being partners, have been partners for a while. I know they've only been partners like 4 months in this movie, whatever, but they feel like they just met like over and over. You know, there's no chemistry there. They feel like strangers and they shouldn't be together. I think that's probably the biggest flaw of the movie is that,
and it also affects the dialogue because they have to explain their backstories to each other. I'm like, you guys have been at the hip for 4 months, even 4 months, like. You don't need
they know each other before they were partners, probably. Yeah.
You don't need to explain like I sell houses on the side. Oh, you're a yoga instructor. All this shit would have came out in 4 months. Just like working in production, like within a month, you know these people like you grew up with people. Them. Yeah, like so it's ridiculous. And they have to go, what do you do for a living? Do you have a wife? Do you have a dog? What do you think about things? It's
right. Yeah. They don't seem like they are lived in partners at all. The opening scene, I actually thought I was like, we're in trouble with the whole shootout thing. That scene's been done so much, like Lethal Weapon, even RoboCop with the shooting gallery thing, and the guy leans over. It's a little bit of character work. Yeah. Like, that's fine. But I would say, that's the main problem with the movie. Just the lack of anything between and buddy action comedies. I think that relies heavily on the chemistry between the two leads or the believability that they are partners. So if the movie has one major flaw, it's that.
And supposedly they didn't get along. And like, there's one thing on IMDb I read where they'd be in the squad car, and they have to set up shots. So you have to sit with the other actor for, potentially hours doing nothing but sitting there.
Yeah.
And they just said nothing the entire time.
Yeah. I heard like between takes, they just didn't talk to each other. And like, Josh Hartnett called Harrison Ford an old fart. And like Harrison Ford called Josh Hartnett a punk. That almost seems like a rollout from the studio. Like they didn't get along. But it doesn't surprise me. Harrison Ford just seems cranky. But having said the movie does have major flaws other than the lack of chemistry between the two leads. I surprisingly enjoyed this movie. By the end of it, I was like into it. It's not good. It's one of those kind of movies I can't really defend, but I did enjoy watching it.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Well, no, go ahead.
Not to jump around, but the last act is all action. It's one giant chase, for like 30 minutes.
That chase goes on for 20 fucking minutes. And I thought that was I was like, oh, are we at the climax now? Because it was, it got there, then it just goes on and on and on. I was like, oh, I was surprised that that's a long chase sequence.
Now, Kenny, should we talk about, not to get off on this, the Hollywood Homicide thing, but we wrote a script together that I kept thinking about when I was watching this.
I didn't really think about that, but yeah, that would, yeah, I remember Sunset Takedown. That was
Yeah,
our,
it was our buddy
yeah,
cop
buddy
script.
action
Yeah, we
comedy
wrote we
script.
wrote
Yeah,
one.
we went
Yeah,
to
we
LA.
did. But they
How
actually
many drafts do we do? I think it's gotta be like 15 or some shit. We went through a lot of drafts. We wrote like over a year, I think, something like that.
but when they went into Hollywood and Vine in that mall, I was like, we wrote a
Uh-huh.
scene exactly at that place.
I haven't read that script in forever, and I remember it's
Well,
so many
neither have
drafts,
I,
but
but
yeah,
but yeah, we had a scene exactly in that
it was
place.
very similar to that.
It's not similar because
I'm kind of remembering that, but
no,
that
I'll
was
paint the
that
picture.
was what, yeah.
They get there, and then our scene was they're at the water fountain thing that squirts up from the ground,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
they're fighting for a gun, and the water keeps squirting the gun away as they fight for it.
That sounds funny.
It
I,
is
I might have to
funny,
read.
yeah.
I might have to
I
read
mean,
that again. Maybe we'll give another big push next time we're in LA. But no, but well, the thing. Okay, I'll say we'll go into the flaws and stuff. But the reason I'll give you the few reasons I did actually really enjoy this movie more than it deserves. I thought it had like a breezy kind of like a vibe to it. It's not very like it's not very demanding. It's not very serious. Everything's kind of goes along. Harrison Ford does seem to be enjoying himself. I don't know. Maybe it was just his first time in a comedy. I kind of missed Harrison Ford because like the last 20 years, Harrison Ford hasn't really been in very good movies, but in the 80s and 90s, he was a huge star. So that was good to see, him, again, just in this big movie. Uh, Also like the use of like, I thought great use of LA locations. And
that's
there
its
wasn't
best.
that
That's its best. Like it goes to so many different to the point where it defies logic.
right.
Like if you've ever been to
Well,
LA,
it
like,
defies logic,
why the
but like
fuck
in the
are they
chase
there?
scene,
There, yeah, but it always looks great.
right. It looks great, and why would they be over here? They kind of bounce around, but like
They're
in
in the
chase
Venice
sequences,
canals, and you're like, what the fuck are you in the Venice canals?
but that's a great setup. It sort of makes sense for the scene, but like if you watch like the old TV show like Chips, like when they get into chase sequences, the location jumping is nuts. As far as like they're on Mulholland, they take a turn and they're in Venice, and they take another turn, then they're in like this. So like I was looking at that and like if they're at the Hollywood and Highland and they have that, and then there's that access point to the subways right there. So they did try to follow like in the chase sequence kind of where everyone would be. So I thought that's always something people from LA would pick up, and I like that. I appreciate they went like that effort. But anyway, so those are the reasons I did like it. I think also being away from Los Angeles for like 4 years now, I kind of was a little nostalgic for a little LA thing. Yeah. Oh, so
hey, you can come back to me every week, buddy. Every week.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'll live vicariously, but not that I don't like it here. But yeah, yeah, I did really enjoy it for those reasons. Plus, it was just kind of funny. Also knowing how bad this movie isn't working at all. This is so bad, and to know it's like a $75 million budget, big summer release for Sony and Ron Shelton. And Ron Shelton's name is all over this movie. I mean, he is the co-writer, producer, director. So this was his, his big, push, his big summer movie, summer blockbuster, and it just fell on its face, So, and I think he likes these movies, and well, I have other ideas about why he did this movie. I don't know. Well, let me ask you, what do you kind of just think of the movie, like kind of overall? I know it's usually we do that later, but what do you think of it now?
No, the movie did not work. The last act was fun. Here's the problem: the antagonist was weak. There was no detective work done. Like they
yeah.
And the point is that so this record producer is killing off his young black rappers who try to leave him.
Yeah.
So
people obviously
none of them don't.
This is a reference to like Suge Knight. I mean, obviously they're going for that Tupac and Biggie thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's done in such a way where it's comical. Like it's really hard to believe any of it. There's no twists. There's no surprises. There's no turns. And then they have the IA thing, which is with the Eternal Affairs.
Usually, there's not really a mystery to be solved. These buddy action comedy movies, who the villains are pretty much right up front. I wasn't really expecting like a twist or anything.
I was expecting more. I was like, is that the only, big bad, especially with Hollywood? Also, it's Hollywood Homicide, and they have the weakest the weakest Hollywood cameos I've ever seen in my life. You would
What?
think,
You know, like Lionel Richie popping up and like Andre. They has a lot of rappers. You got like
Andre
Andre
3000 and then
Master
that rap
P,
group. Yeah.
and then it's got Corrupt. Corrupt is a big part as the pig himself.
Your Hollywood
guy.
Homicide, like where's the player level of cameos? You know,
Where's the big cameos?
Yeah. And
yeah,
I just think it's weird to focus on the rap industry. So you have a bunch of black men dying and getting killed by white men, you know, and they're the focus. You know what I mean? Like it's just ill-advised in my opinion.
Oh, as far as it being like irresponsible, as far as like
not irresponsible.
Well,
I just like Christ. It's Hollywood Homicide. Like, why are we focusing on the rap industry?
Well, this is before like the Black Lives Matter movement and all that kind of stuff. As far not saying that stuff didn't happen in 2003, I'm just saying like I think that the thinking was they were just going to do a murder mystery, not mystery, but like a murder case in Hollywood, and it was just going to be like okay, like you know the Tupac and Biggie were still kind of in the news at that point, being unsolved crimes. So I think that was like the thinking that there's rappers, big time, like rappers are about to, you know, really blow up, get killed. These two detectives are on it, you know, blah, blah. You know, that was the thinking. I don't think it was like they were being, you know, irresponsible, they should have covered or whatnot. I will say though, that is a little uncomfortable at the end, spoiler, when Harrison Ford takes the black record producer and tosses him off the fucking roof and lands him in a garbage can. And
Hollywood
it's like,
trash.
yeah.
No, did you see the sign? Obvious, like Hollywood trash. Like,
well, not to digress, but like I just watched this Paul Newman movie from 1980 called Fort Apache the Bronx, where it's kind of like a buddy cop movie, but not a comedy. But one of the main key like things in it is that he and his partner watch another cop toss a black kid off a roof. And that becomes like a whole big point in the story. So to have this one kind of like the, you know, yeah moment, and even though he's a horrible guy, I don't think this movie, we talked a lot about, you know, uncomfortable moments in these movies or things that were not progressive anymore. I thought this movie didn't really have a lot that I thought was
it did have one. It did with women. Like again, the sexism in these movies far outpaces all that you would, which I didn't expect as much.
Well, was it just the girls throwing themselves at Josh Hartnett?
Yeah, like hardcore. Like when she just shows up, she just comes home and she's in his hot tub, and
she's like, hey,
and she's naked. Well, he's like he's like close enough, and then just jumps in and fucks her. It's like so fucking weird. Look, Josh Hartnett's fucking hot piece of man biscuit. Don't get me wrong. It just.
I'll go back to what I'll say with his yoga studio. It's just like all models that just show up that drool
and then there's
over
that
him.
shot where it's just asses, you know, when
it was just, and also just like, have you ever been to a yoga class? Like it's people show up their like pajamas and, you know, it's not just all models wearing tight shit, you know, but anyway, like, but Josh Hartnett in general, I don't know I'm not a fan. I mean, like, I think there's a reason he didn't really blow up. I don't think he really, I guess I'm a fan of like, when I think about my favorite movie stars, I like the like tough guys or the funny guys. And there's or if you're like a really good actor, like a, you know, De Niro or a Daniel Day-Lewis or something, just the really good looking guys like Richard Gere and stuff like that. I don't really find them very appealing. I don't
think it's just Josh Hartnett's fault. Like I loved him in The Faculty. Of course, I was, you know,
he was like a 17-year-old. That was also that part was like written for him like for like a badass kid. You know?
But anyway, this movie needed a comedian to play off Harrison Ford's curmudgeonly veteran, you know, like.
But the role though is not a comic. It's more of like just I guess you're right though. It would have been like you could have made it more like a dumb, vain idiot, but a nice guy.
Well, look at like if he had Ben Stiller, he's probably a little too old even then. But like
he was too old at that time. Yeah, I was thinking that it would have been a little more like who they would have maybe cast who had been in the running for that part, who would have been a little more dynamic. He's not known for his like comedy, but Heath Ledger, I thought, might have taken that role, did some interesting things with it. He had been in like 10 Things I Don't Hate About You. Like he would have been something. Just Josh Hartnett, I don't know. He just doesn't do it for me. I think he was very good looking. All the young girls had a crush on him, and I don't know. Like he was kind of the hot upcoming guy. Then he just didn't do anything really after
Well, a lot
that.
of it was him self-imposing. I don't want to get into all this bullshit, but like he was like he had his pick of shit and he like decided not to do shit, like
He did. I know
that's what he
he
says.
said that, like that's what he says. Yeah, I walked away from it because I couldn't take it. But I mean, it also could be after like the Pearl Harbor and 40 Days, 40 Nights and Hollywood Homicide, all these like really high profile movies that didn't underperform that he was in. Maybe the offers stopped pouring in.
Yeah.
It wasn't like so. Yeah, maybe he just walked away and maybe he was didn't want to deal with all that Hollywood bullshit and competitive stuff. But it could just been like also that after a string of flops, people stop, coming after you.
I also think it was just a misguided from a conceptual level to make a Hollywood Homicide. They even have, the chase through the studio and all this shit, like,
Yeah.
Why isn't it a filmic based stuff? Like if you want to do the music industry, you can do that in a lot of cities, Hollywood Homicide should have been a studio, about
at the time you could have done it. Yeah, you could have done it in Atlanta or wherever. Like it's Hollywood. It would be like a Hollywood. I think the premise is still a like good premise to jump off of. Well, I think going back to like Ron Shelton and stuff. Like I was thinking like why he did this movie. He did this movie called Dark Blue like a year before with Kurt Russell, which is kind of this like dark drama about like police corruption in Los Angeles starring Kurt Russell. One of the like advisors on the movie was this guy named Robert Sosa, and who was a real LA Hollywood like detective. He actually popped up in one of Megan's like murder shows that she watches called like City of Angels, City of Murder, which covers all the like late 70s, early 80s serial killers that were going around in LA, which there was a lot of apparently. But anyway, he's like an interview subject there. Well,
according to that show.
Yeah, no, in real life, like but anyway, like he met Ron Shelton, and he basically talked about what's like being like a cop in Hollywood and stuff like that. And the more they talked, he also moonlighted as a real estate agent, and he was actually trying to sell Robert Evans' home at the time and was having a lot of trouble with it. So I think just all his talk and stuff, like that's where Ron Shelton got to say, oh, that's an interesting place to be a detective. And I like the buddy action comedy thing. This would be a good movie. And actually, Robert Sosa is the co-writer credit on there with Ron Shelton. So this is his only movie he's ever been credited as a writer for.
Also,
so I think, but yeah, go ahead.
No, I didn't know you were done. I thought you were done.
Well, yeah, well, but you're anyway, you're right that like, yeah, the movie industry, why didn't you go after the movie industry instead of the rap industry? Like you could have had some interesting things with I think the movie industry is probably just as, I don't know, corrupt. As some shady dealings as the corrupt as the rap industry is, or we can find those spots, so anyway.
I loved him being, they didn't handle it as well as I would have liked, of course, but the real estate thing, him doing real estate on the side, because I remember being in the mail room and there was a woman there who was in the mail room delivering mail. And said, oh, hold on, I have to take this. She's delivering mail, and then she's brokering like real estate property. And we're like, what the fuck is like, this is so stupid. Like you're making
that's the stuff about
$15 an hour. Like, what are you
doing? Yeah. That's the stuff about Los Angeles though that I like though, that everyone's kind of like got this kind of like airs going on, like they're putting on.
Everybody has a side hustle, except they all lived in like beautiful houses. Like, oh yeah, we're broke at that two jobs. That's just
The only thing like I couldn't really tell Ron Shelton like made this movie other than like the love scene that he's always done these kind of adult mature love scenes. But I did give me one big laugh when Harrison Ford puts on those reflector shades and takes the bite of the donut, and it's like all to that sexy
out of
music
nowhere.
And stuff.
It was like hot shots, she's like, it's like out of nowhere. He brings a donut up in the frame and she laughs like, where the fuck did he get the donut? What the fuck is
the donut from? Going on? Yeah. That was great. I don't think it was the intended laugh that we're going for, but I liked it. Well, another issue with this movie though is there's way too many fucking subplots going on. Like, you got there's the murder. Josh Hartnett's dad was a cop who was murdered, and that connects with Dwight Yoakam, who
By the
is
way,
like the
always great
main
to see him in a movie, you know.
always loved Dwight Yoakam.
Yeah.
You know, he looks like such a piece of shit, but then he was like in the 90s, like this big like sex symbol in the country music world. He like dated Sharon Stone, did all that. He's not easy on the eyes. Maybe it's just me. Maybe he's not my cup of tea. But I just thought that was great. Like I always love him in movies and stuff. But I just think of like his like old
Hey,
sex symbol
I speak
status.
from experience. You don't need a perfect
Yeah.
jawline to attract the ladies. You know, Dwight Yoakam just got it.
Oh
you
hey,
know?
yeah. Oh okay, yeah.
You don't need it.
Well, I got if you can croon, you're okay. Yeah, but I just always love that he just looks so awful like as a movie star, but he's always like the creeper guy like in Panic Room or something. But yeah, he was like just like and I heard like, you know, well, Hollywood stories like the women just gravitate towards him when he like, you know, enters the room and stuff. Just that's great. Hooray for Dwight Yoakam, basically.
Yeah, good for him. Everybody needs one of those. Yeah, he looks like a Burger King manager, you know.
Yeah. And a disgruntled one too. Yeah.
He's not a stranger to the crystal meth.
No, but I would say there's just so many subplots going on, so many weird ones as far as like, yeah, it's like Josh Hartnett's dad was killed by Dwight Yoakam, who's was a cop, and the internal investigator who's like after Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford just happens to be banging his wife, who's a psychic on the radio. The psychic is the key. Like last week we were talking about 48 Hours, just like the last act, like how do they get to this point? They were just like, oh, just go there. It was just almost like she's like, let's just ask the psychic. Like,
now, did Harrison Ford have a connection with her before he started calling her on the radio? Or
I don't know.
Because it really seemed like he
that.
knew her, but then she showed up at his house. He's like, how'd you find my house or something? I don't know.
Well, she shows up, she's like blindfolded. I was a little confused about that. It felt like they had like a lived, like that was a woman he was dating for a long time or something. He was trying to call up the radio, but did they? I don't know. But like, yeah, this movie has so many subplots going on all over the place. It's hard to keep up.
But I did. Yeah. Sorry, no, I keep interrupting you. But it's hard because you talk in a flat line, you know, with no breaks in the river. So I never know when to jump in.
Yeah, well, I just keep going until a point hopefully emerges. So, you know, you can jump in at any time.
Buddy, hey, the water's warm.
Yeah. I'm just kind of a cat falling off a, you know, balcony, and I'm trying to land on my feet. So just help me out whenever you want.
I did clock the Ron Shelton's fucking mature lovemaking scenes, like with.
You did like those, or did you?
No, I don't like them. I think they're funny.
Well, they're in like Tin Cup and Bull Durham,
exactly.
White Can't Jump. They're in all of them. That's like the one, his signature. Yeah,
it's like always the guy kissing her stomach. You know, like that's supposed to be fucking oral sex, but you can't show that.
Well, no, that's in Harrison Ford's contract. Don't show me going down on a lady, you know.
It's in all his movies, so it's hilarious. All right, sorry. What was your last point?
Too many subplots. Yeah, I think I covered it though. Yeah.
It was cool to see Captain America in it.
You're thinking of
I wasn't
Falcon?
expecting that. Oh, someone's not cut up on their MCU. Yeah, he's Captain America now.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh God, nerd fucking alert! Jesus Christ, are you talking about that stupid show that's like the Falcon and Winter Soldier?
He becomes Captain America at the end of Endgame. I think it's more of a racist alert.
Oh, excuse me. The real Captain America is Thor now. I forgot or whatever. Like he's Falcon. Shut up. He's not Captain America.
Well, he's got the shield. He's Captain America.
No one knows what the fuck nerd talk you're talking about. It's like, you know.
Yeah, I'm the outlier here. Yikes.
Yeah.
We got a lot of talking to do before our next episode. So what would you
school me on that new MCU whatever fucking crap. Yeah. Actually, Iron Man died, and the new Iron Man is Seth Green. So yeah.
No, we don't know who the new Iron Man is yet, though. We don't know who the new Iron Man is. We know who the new Captain America is.
I'm so over fucking Marvel crap now. It's like 25 fucking movies.
You just lost us 5 of our subscribers, which is 25%. Right yeah. What would you rate this movie?
If you like Marvel, fuck you. Unsubscribe. I dare you.
Wrong fucking YouTube channel. What would you rate?
Come at me, Disney. Come at me. This goes to black right after that. Yeah.
No, yeah. There's a whole control room starts freaking out. Should we go after him? Hold on.
Yeah.
It might be a joke.
But I can't wait to see Doctor Strange 5 or whatever the fuck is coming out next.
Doctor Strange Into the Mouth of Madness. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Who gives a fuck?
Sam Raimi's directing it, so I do give a fuck.
Yeah, Sam. Well, those movies are heavily storyboarded before they even bring a director on now, so I doubt we would know
do you
what the fuck
enjoy
is going
anything? This is where we can't.
No, I enjoy Hollywood Homicide and nothing else.
This is why we have to cover these shitty fucking movies, because anything good you're not interested in.
This is just part of my plan, just torturing you, making you watch these movies for like a year or so.
All right. Well, I know what you feel about the Marvel movies. How do you feel about Hollywood Homicide?
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. So no, seriously, on your buddy scale,
on the buddy scale, I would have to rate this as a guilty pleasure. It's not a good movie. I think it just personally, I enjoyed watching because I hadn't seen it before. It was fun to see Harrison Ford in this genre. See what Ron Shelton did. I like the big, the LA locations, the big budget, like all that kind of stuff. The humor fell flat a lot. No chemistry between the leads. So, but on a guilty pleasure thing, like I admitted, like I enjoyed the movie, so I probably have to give like 7 out of 10 or something, or like a 6.5 or something like that.
On the buddy scale. What about actual movie
the buddy scale? Yeah.
What about actual movie scale?
Actual movie scale would be like a 6 out of 10 or something. Yeah, I don't know. The IMDb is like 5.9, which is really low for these kind of movies.
Mm-hmm.
But so like I don't want to rate it that low, but I wouldn't really recommend it to anybody. Like oh yeah, this is a good one. But I personally just liked it, so I don't know. Yeah.
I would give it an odd 5 out of 10 for both buddy movies and actual movies. Like it's like the same.
So it's like a solid 5 out of 10 for you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very rare because the buddy comedy and action, like I like the last act, it almost redeemed itself, but it wasn't enough.
The last 20-minute chase.
It wasn't funny. There was no chemistry. So what are we rating here? Like, what are we rating here as buddies in a buddy action comedy?
Well, that's the
there's
main
no comedy.
Issue
There's no buddies, and the action
there's
kind of
comedy.
There's
comedy. There's comedy, and it's a buddy team. It's not funny though.
No, funny's not. And
but
there's no chemistry.
There is attempts at comedy.
Sure, but it's like middle of the road. I'm gonna give it a 5, and then as a movie,
no, I think it fell flat on its face, but also to me that was kind of enjoyable in a weird way. Just seeing this like all this talent just fall flat on its face, and like Ron Shelton, since the movie came out, he's made one other movie in the past like 20 years.
Was it the one of the bone, the boxing one? Did that come out after this or before it?
No, that came out before. That's Play It to the Bone with Woody Harrelson and Antonio Banderas.
Not a good movie either.
Yeah, I haven't revisited it in a long time, but I remember not liking it. But he made one of them that came out a couple of years ago with Tommy Lee Jones and Morgan Freeman at like a retirement home.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of like a buddy thing too. It was called Just Getting Started. I had to look it up 3 times. I kept forgetting the fucking title. And it's kind of a buddy thing where like Tommy Lee Jones is like this retired mob lawyer, and Morgan Freeman's like a retired FBI agent that was trying to bust him the whole time, or they hate each other.
We both know that movie really well, so let's just jump into that movie. We just do 2 episodes in one.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna jump into it, but like I would point out that movie, like I looked it up, like it was like the top 20 worst opening weekends of all time, adjusted for inflation. With it opened on like 2,000 or 3,000 screens and made like 2 million or something, and then just fell off hard afterwards. So in the last like 20 years, Ron Shelton's that's it. Like Hollywood Homicide and that movie.
That's too bad, because those movies with the older actors
Yeah.
tend to stick around a long time. So for it to fall off is not a good look. It's too bad, because Ron Shelton's a good director, at least in his prime. Like
he was really talented. Yeah. So it's just a shame that's like the last 20 years. It's when like Clint Eastwood and Scorsese and Spielberg keep pumping them out. Like he hasn't done any. He's been like 2 in 20 years. So.
Well, thank you for just suggesting that.
Suggesting what?
Hollywood Homicide. That was your choice.
Oh, okay. No, Ron Shelton's made 2 million.
Thank you for suggesting
movies
that.
in the last 20 years. Yeah.
Fuck. Sorry, give me a second. I know this is bad airtime stuff.
Are you gonna go on your phone and Google like buddy action comedies and try to pick one now?
No, right now what I'm doing is making sure our audio is working
Jesus.
correctly.
Yeah. Why don't we just go to dead air?
I'm not watching Stuber. I'm not watching Spencer. Not yet.
You want to do?
What do
You want to do something more contemporary?
Not necessarily. Look, do you have anything you've been dying to do? I just want something that's. What about Skip Trace? Let's do that.
I've actually been looking at that with the Jackie Chan, Johnny Knoxville one.
Yeah,
that came out that no one fucking saw.
Yeah, but the director is a big director, isn't it? Like Rennie Harlan or some shit like that.
Rennie Harlan, yeah, he was a big guy in the early '90s, like Die Hard 2 and Cliffhanger and stuff. Yeah. No, I've been looking at that. So let's do it. All right,
we're doing Skip Trace. Yeah, sorry.
Skip Trace.
Sorry for everybody for not thinking ahead because now we're getting Skip Trace, and you know who's going to pay for it? This guy.
I'll come out next week. I was like, I 9 out of 10. It was great. I love Skip Trace.
I don't know. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Call me guilty.
What's funny is with all these, they're not streaming anywhere, so I have to pay for all these rentals. The first really bad ones that were old were on YouTube. Now, like no one cares.
Well, maybe that
Homicide. No one's going to carry Skip Trace. No one's going
to carry Skip Trace.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just think about like, do I really want to pay $3.99 for Skip Trace, or should we just do Double Trouble starring the Barbarian Brothers on YouTube for nothing?
I think I'd rather
because the budget on this show is pretty high. If you want to donate to our PayPal account, $3.99 for both of us to watch Skip Trace.
Yeah, we'll start a Patreon when we get 20 subscribers. We're one away.
One away. But I was saying someone to pay us each $3.99 to watch Skip Trace. That'd be great.
No, I'm happy to spend the money. I mean, a lot of this too is like we watch the movies and we have fun, but a lot of it is just giving us something to talk about because we have trouble talking to each other.
That was the main goal. I ran out of things to talk to Lucas about, and I thought we could come together and still be friends, but it's not looking good, guys.
No.
So, if you could just save this friendship by making a small donation of $29.99 per month, that would really help us out, and we could remain friends.
And I'm indifferent. Pay, don't pay. I have a lot of friends, big LA friends.
Lucas would be happy to do relationships like over, and he wouldn't have to watch these stupid movies and talk about them each week. But I differ.
All right.
All right. What we learned from Hollywood Homicide?
I learned that you can't cast two quiet white men as your leads, and that's the problem. It's not that they didn't. They're both good actors in my opinion, and of course it's Harrison Ford, and I don't dislike Josh Hartnett as much. But their characters are so like quiet and reserved. Like, hey, you want to go to a bar? Yeah, let's go to a bar. Yeah. And they go to a bar. It's like, hey, do you want this drink? Yeah, I want this drink. Hey, you selling that house? Yeah, I'm trying to sell a house. So what the fuck is going on? Like, there's no life, there's no pulse. Like,
there's no tension, conflict, urgency, like nothing. Yeah.
That's why if you make it easy on yourself instead of the nuance, like have one guy a convict and one guy a racist cop. And then you have 48 hours.
Is that what you learned?
Yeah, I just learned.
Write it different.
No, write it easier. Don't be so challenging to yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like the best ones work. Like, oh, here's a suicidal cop. Here's a cop who's ready for retirement. It's just come on. We want oil and water here, not nothing and nothing. Yeah. What'd you learn?
Nothing. I learned that sometimes you like a shitty movie and you can't really explain why. That's what I learned. Yeah.
Well, you guys take that to bed with you tonight. And you sleep with it.
Come back next week.
And come back next week. For fuck, I already forgot the name of the stupid movie.
Skip Trace.
Skip Trace. You know the one.
Yeah.
All right. That was fun. Have fun, guys.
See you guys later.